April 2021, tarehe ni 12 mwezi wa 4 mwaka 2021. Nashukuru tena kuona na nyinyi tena. I hope you guys had a very great weekend and you're ready to start off the week. As usual, we have the Common Sense edition, Life and Money, where we talk about your maisha and your chapa. Unajua mwanaume bila kitu pia ni shida. So we talk about binadamu bila kitu ni noma. So we talk about money and life. We talk about money and life. Kama kawaida tunakuanga na Eric MWANGI, CEO Maridadi Motors, ambaye yuko na sisi pia leo hapa. Alafu Kapteni Collins WANDERI, senior citizen, atuambie ni dunia ilikuwa inaendanga haje wakati ule. Ameona mengi kutuliko sisi. Sisi ndio tumeanza kuona kidogo kidogo. Kwa hivyo karibuni tena kwa Tackle Common Sense edition. This is a tackle and tackle begins now. Lakini kama kawaida, kabla tujaanza kazi, lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tufanye maombi. Leo tunaweka kwa Captain Collins atuombe. Last week ilikuwa Eric. Captain, tuende mbele za Mungu.
Asante sana Victor, kuacha tuende mbele za Mungu. Father who art in heaven, we come before you this morning. Lord, we want to thank you for the gift of life. We want also to thank you for the gift of the comforts that we have in life and good health. Father, it's not by our doing, but by your will and by your kindness and generosity. Lord, we now place this day unto you. We place this show unto you. Lord, do guide us, do protect us, and do give us wisdom so that we can share it with our colleagues and with all our viewers and our listeners who make it worthwhile for us to come here on Mondays. Lord, I ask you to bless each and every person who is tuned in and listening to us. I ask you to bless every Kenyan. I ask you to bless our country, Lord. And Lord, we also place the leadership of this country, from the president down to the lowest administrator, and to your heart, Father. May they make decisions that make the lives of our people easier and cheaper and more meaningful. Lord, we also thank you for our children who are completing a secondary school education, many of them today and the others next week. Lord, as they come home, please take care of them, protect them, and also give them the knowledge and wisdom to discern those that may distract them on their way home. Lord, we ask you all this, believing and trusting in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen. Asante sana Collins. Thank you so much. Asante sana. Please come in. As usual, I request on you join in. Please like. When you like, I get to know that you're watching us. And that you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch broadcast. When you join in, please like. When you like, I get to know that you're watching us. And that you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is a tackle, and the tackle begins now. Thank you so much, Maridadi Motors, for partnering with us. Maridadi Motors are partners who have been working with us. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for partnering with us. Kama wewe unataka gagari, you can save up to 300,000 by direct imports. By the way, the other day I was handing over a vehicle on Saturday. Inakuja mapisha zinakuja nitaonyesha. So that is what we call direct import delivered. Direct import delivered by Maridadi Motors. You get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings when you import to Maridadi Motors. Maridadi Motors also gives you an opportunity to invest this import to sell. The car gets to be imported under your name. All the details under your name. Pesa yako unaiweka pale kama investment. Alafu unaweza kupata pesa ngapi? Unaweza kupata 18% per year. 18% returns per year. Hakuna mahali pengine unaweza pata kitu kama hiyo. The banks are giving you 11%. Where else do you get 18% for investing your money? Maridadi Motorcycle gives you an opportunity as well to save your money. 50% you get to import your car, ile nyingine unailipia pole pole. Alafu pia Maridadi pia Motorspa pale Sparkling Motorspa Sierra Mall pale nyuma unaweza kupata gari yako maridadi kabisa. Oh yeah, nimeongeza percentage. Kumbe ni 15%. Remember the 15%, you get 15% on your investment when you invest with Maridadi Motors. Import to sell by Maridadi Motors. Takes away the headache of you doing business. Unajua kuna watu kama wanataka kuuza magari, usiko broker. Leta gari yako alafu inauzwa professionally. Unasikia maneno. Pia mnafanyanga trading ethics, si ndio? So hiyo gari yangu ka Volkswagen naweza leta rumu nipe gari nyingine kubwa.
Oh yes, you can. We have to help you dispose the old car for you to buy the new one. Yeah, because we know that sometimes part of the budget you want to use to buy your new car is usually tied in the old car.
That is true.
Yeah.
Gari yangu ni milioni 2.
You're giving Eric, you amaze me. You have these business ideas where you're making the person who needs to sell and the one who needs to buy to meet.
Correct.
You are actually becoming
platform.
The platform.
Yeah.
I wanted to use a bit more technical term, the market. There's the ideal market.
Yeah.
And the ideal market is I have this to sell, you have this to buy. Let's have a consensus.
Thank you.
A meeting of the minds.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I must say, I was discussing with Bitok the other time here that I'm still thinking of what I need to do with you, because definitely you are challenging me. Your way of doing business is the new way of doing business.
Thank you.
The modern way of doing business. It's amazing. And we must keep encouraging the younger generation because you are the future. You're the future of this country. If your business succeeds, you will be tomorrow the next big Bill Gates of in the world.
Amen.
Aliko Dangote. We keep listening to the sages who made it in business in our country, and we talked about that. You remember we talked about the succession.
Yeah.
It would be very good. It would be excellent. You need to see a business grow from down up. It becomes mature, it is able to sustain and employ thousands of people and or create livelihood, and you create a value chain where everybody gains. And that's exactly what you're doing. You are resolving a problem. Actually, that's the very basis of going to school. You resolve people's problem. You see a problem, you want to resolve it.
Thank you so much. I think I'm very humbled, and particularly when I hear it from a senior person like
that is exactly mahali kikapu inakujianga.
My commitment, and I like to make it public, is that I want to also set an example for other SMEs on how we can be able to run businesses that are value driven and are not focused on extreme capitalism of selfishness, but like Captain says, a business that impacts society. I am very happy when an old lady who cannot use the computer joins our program for import to sell and can benefit from the auto industry, even though she would not be able to do it by herself. Those are, I think, the things that give me meaning and make my business have purpose, other than just the thinking about the bottom line every single day. You've been to Maridadi Motors several. You see the young men working there and the young women working there. For me, those are the things that give me the motivation to wake up every morning. Yeah.
Really appreciate. I also met some old lady there, retiree.
Yes.
She was very,
Those are my customers.
I mean, it's really amazing because I think the essence of business is to touch lives. If you're doing a business that's not transforming any life, that's not touching any lives, then you're not supposed to be doing it. So, I mean, it also challenges us as well to reinvent around our business to ensure that even as we earn money, we also give back value to people. All right. Asante sana Emmanuel Serem. Naona mamka. Asante sana. Good morning to you, my brother. Emmanuel Serem. Amusha Lona Serem. Na Emmanuel, nakutafuta bwana tukunywe chai. Tumekaa sana. Liona juzi kulikuwa na ile kapicha yetu ya TBT ya Kavadeli Moy Avenue. So tafadhali you need to have coffee. Amusha Lona Serem na Isaac Serem. Asante sana. Kiblandui, keep quiet Larry and some Alo Gerard watching from Eldoret. Asante. Andrew Kathirimu, morning bro. Good morning to you. Anita Chesire, good to see you. Umepotea sana. I didn't see you last week. Karibu David Kamau, good morning. Good people. Wish everyone a blessed day. Asante sana. Nyabuto Moss Wilson, dude from Kisii Town, Kipkali Arab Kosgei. Unable to get you today. Kenyan economy is forcing us to use free FB. We'll meet kesho bro. Pole sana Kipkali. I mean, the sad state of the economy. Eva Chapkewa Mheshimiwa Elgeyo Marakwet, good morning. So good morning to you Eva. Rashid Abdallah Chemasanza Majera will talk. Morning brother. Umenilenga mtunguzi. Nimekulenga wapi bro? Ulisikia wapi? Ulisikia wapi? Haya, Kiprop KV Kansama Gerald Bitoka. I'm watching from Kabimo Eldar Maravin. Good morning gentlemen. Good morning to you. Joy Taita all the way from Germany. Sema loud and clear. Asante sana David Daisy Maritim Mheshimiwa Utawala. Asema good morning tuko. Asante sana Chebos Skip Justin. Good morning sir. Logged in from Machakos. Ochieng Chiel Ruta Raila coalition is a failed ticket. None of them will be. Haya, leo hii ni siku ya kuongelea maisha na pesa. Mambo ya siasa kila siku utakwama my friend. Reborn MC Chris anasema hii madeni Kenya iko nayo, si Kenya iuzwe na kila mtu apewe pesa yake. Mtu apewe kitu yake wewe ununue plot mahali unajua. Kipkali Arab Kosgei from Rainbow Ruiru Resort. Asante sana. Thank you so much the guys from Rainbow Resort for always tuning in. Nitakuja hapo kama utaniambia kama mko wazi, nitakuja kama say to you. Mrs. Amunga, Rebecca Amunga said morning, I'm not joining you from MARIDADY. Asante sana. Salimia Peter Amunga mwalimu. Asante sana, good to see you. Kimarina kuona. Milton Oguti, morning tackle watching from Nairobi. Asante sana. Ulitoka Malaba lini ama ulitoka Uganda lini? Karibu. Dixon Sampa, good morning Gerald. Such economic at times is very sad. Man, we actually need to have that discussion. Nyabuta Moses Wilson anasema amen. Kilimo Olen content to the watching live from Eldoret. Asante sana Moses Kamau. Bishop mwenyewe, good morning from UG. Blessings to you patron. Asante sana my brother. Nitakuja uniekele mikono na uniombe kura wala watu huko kwenu. MCA Kithika word loading anasema good morning tuned in from Kithika. Asante sana Chepchirchir Kutoe. Good morning Gerald Bito. Good morning to you Chepchirchir. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. How was your weekend? I'm happy to see you again. Francis Kidero Nakuru Kivumbini getting you loud and clear. Asante sana Taita. Yuko pamoja Tukumwani representing Togoto. Good morning. Salimia watu wa Togoto sana mwanene. Kiblagan Parsume watching you live from Mulolongo Phase 3. Asante watu wa Mulolongo Dukos Gay. Tunakuona live tekeke Gerald hapa jijini. Asante sana. Shukuru Moriango Kenyanya Vincent. Good morning to you, our panelists tuned in from Doha. God blessings. Good to see all the guys from Doha. Nur Senior, good morning Takul. Good morning to you. Watu wa Australia, melala sana leo. Vipi? Moses Kamwa, some of there is up in the country with you guys around. Blessings. Thank you so much, Moses Kamwa. I really appreciate that. Mibera Mibay, and good morning, County 036. Asante Cheriad Viagon. Good morning, GB, tuned in from JKI. Asante sana salimia kena Kosgei. OCBD Kosgei, mwambie nimetuma salamu kochokocho. Beking Keino Jr. Good morning, boss. Good morning to you, Gideon Serem. Good morning, Peter watching from Lesos. Congratulations to Maridadi Motors. Asante sana Gideon Serem. Kuja uchukue gari. Kuja uchukue lokomoto bwana. Kuja uchukue gari upeleke pale Prado, ingie pale mashinani. Lesos watu wajua hata wewe you have arrived. Haya. Richard Maritim asema watching live from Emirates. Asante sana Maritim. Liki Sarah Cheborio, good morning, cannot log in, niko kwa mkutano. Aya, what's up? Wekelea mahali udunge earphones kidogo tusikie mambo tunasemaje. By the way, you are coming up with a radio app, so very soon you can also listen in. If you're not able to watch, you can listen in on your headphones or the earphones, so that uweze kupata sambamba. Kuna watu ambao wanataka kusikia wanasema, kuna watu wanasema kwa ofisini wakati mwingine hawezi kututazama, so we are coming up with an app where you'll be able to listen in as a podcast live. Unasikia pole pole kufanya kazi yako. Haya, Kipkembai Toto sana, good morning Sugoi, blessed week. Asante sana watu wa Sugoi. Peter Muigai, good morning, watching live from Guangzhou, China. Watu wa Guangzhou, China, good to see you, thank you so much. Tikiti sahi nasikia ni 1500 bwana. We cannot come, you're not coming, we'll come some other day. Christopher Sang, mtu wa Plantation, liko locked in Kansas City. Kazi ni kazi ya the Plantation, my friend. Asante sana, kazi ni kazi, wera ni wera, mboka ni mboka. Haya, chapa kazi mtu wa Plantation pale Kansas City. Alvin Mugo anasema logged in from Karen. Asante sana Steven Mushai, good morning, watching live from Ngong. Asante watu Ngong. Mwema Steve Mwema, good morning from Umoja. Good morning to you Steve, and thank you so much for what you're doing bwana. Liona juzi ulikuwa unapiga drainage kabisa. That is good. Inaitwa nini, civic responsibility. Asanteni sana kwa kuweza kufanya kuhakikisha kwamba environment yenu ama mandhari yenu iko safi kabisa. Ilari Rap Mayo anasema Ilari Mayo from Nairobi, Kenya. Asante Catherine Omingo watching from Nairobi. Hi Kate, asante sana, good to see you Kate. I hope you had a very great weekend. I will see you again. Babake Willis, good morning Bitok. Please discuss with the panel of yesterday's KTN Mawaji Akene. Hi. By the way, if there's anything else that you'd want to touch us on, you want us to talk about, please utuandikia hapo kwa comment section, alafu tutaweza kuizungumzia. Anything that you want us to discuss this morning, please send us on the comment section, we'll be able to discuss it. Isho ni yenu, sio yetu, ni yenu. Kibroke Vika anasema ibito cryptocurrency discussion, we have to do that. Tutazungumzia juzi Bitanga demo aliguzia, tutaangalia tuzungumzie. Najua hapa mandugu zangu hapa wanajua moja mbili. Kiborda ngata, good morning watching from Eldoret. How are you? Good to see you my brother, I'm quite well. Lil Koima mwenyewe anasema good morning Gerald and panelists, good to see you my brother, good morning. Chesema Richard mheshimiwa, sema Gerald dai salimia Maridadi, my proud iko njiani for trading, nataka VX. Kuja bwana, mimi ndio ndakupelekea hiyo, alafu bas tunatengeneza maneno. Leta hiyo proud alafu unapata VX. Kuna VX imefika tayari. VX safi kabisa. VX safi nyeusi. Kwanza wewe sijui utakuwa unapitia barabara gani wewe Chesebe. Utasema ulikula Eurobond ama ulikula Kemsa. Hiyo gari ni baridi kabisa. Anyway, come to Maridadi Motors, we'll have a discussion with you. Karibu sana. Anmwe anasema good morning GB. Good morning to you Anmwe. Good to see you. Attend keep. Morning Gerald Bitok watching live from Eldoret. Maria from Lodwa. Natafuta huyu mama sana, nitafutie Maria kutoka Lodwa tafadhali iweze kuzungumza naye. Asante sana. Thank you. Ernest Langat joining you from Bulbul Ngong. Ask Maridadi Motors if they have the monthly payment plan. Yeah. Kuja, there are two options. There's a financing option that you can pick, and there's also the savings option where you save at the SACCO for 6 months, 50% value of the car or more, and then they import the car for you, alafu nyingine unaweza kulipa pole pole. So if you want to get a car, there are two options, financial option and SACCO. I would encourage you to go the SACCO way, because as well, even as you're saving for the car, you're also able to save for your own needs. Kesho kama unataka taxi, kuna kitu inaitwa lease to buy. You cannot get all that if you're not part of Maridadi. So endelea tu kuzunguka hapa Ngong Road. Ukitafuta watu wengine ambao hawajali pesa yako inaenda wapi. Tafadhali karibuni to Maridadi Motors, two options, financial option na SACCO. I would encourage you to go the SACCO way, because it also gives you discipline, gives you an opportunity to get even more assets in future. So kuja Maridadi Motors tuzungumze, tujue tutakusaidia aje. Karibu sana. Hiyo ni Ernest Langat. Naona pia Manuel and good morning to live from Nairobi, Kenya. Kibra Salitu. Asante sana tu Kibra. David Kitu tuned in from Kapsabet. Thank you. Derek B. Watt from Ziwa. Asante sana watu wa Ziwa. Don Kim live from Mereweta. Asante watu wa mtaani, nashukuru sana kuwaona. Eric Mangenge sama yes we do. You can visit us for more discussions. Karibu sana. Tupa namba yako kwa inbox alafu utapigiwa simu. Unajua hii kampuni mnaongeleshwa na CEO mwenyewe direct. Ni wapi kwingine unaweza taka kufanya biashara? CK Amani, good morning Bitok Mombasa, Kemi well represented, asante sana. Jalagad Mary, good morning watching from Westlands. Abu Zueira Cho, good morning Bitok watching from Ongata Rongai, na kusalimia sana. Kusalimia zaidi watu wa Ongata Rongai, watu wa diaspora. Ila Ringiano, good morning Gerald, watching live along Ngong Road, asante sana watu wa Ngong Road. Munga Luta continue enjoying the show from Coventry, United Kingdom. Joseph Rob tuned in from Donholm Nairobi, asante sana. Masjid Ayub, Industrial Area Police Locked, asante sana watu wa Industrial Area. Salimia OCS hapo kwenu. Jamaa yangu sana, msalimia sana watu jamaa Industrial Area, mwambie namsalimia. Chris CR, and good morning GB watching from Country 029 Chapakazi, Livingston Yagon, good morning Bitoka, I'm Livingston Yagon watching live from Embakasi, enjoying my birthday. Happy birthday Livingston, happy birthday. Vicky and MC, good morning, going live from Kibabi in Kandui Bungoma. Good work you are doing people, let's work together to build our motherland. Hi Eric, how's your weekend been? Your week actually.
First of all, I want to thank you in person for the kind gesture that you did on Saturday. Captain, on Saturday I had been invited by by an initiative. There is an initiative in my community by a gentleman called Kamau Karongo, where he brings boys together to be circumcised and to be taught the principles of manhood, the godly way, the way of men.
But you need to review that book.
Yeah, so I invited Bitok to come and talk to the boys, and this gentleman is really candid and is a preacher. I didn't know he talked very well to the boys. Words that may not go very well in this particular forum because it was a purely boys forum, but he really guided the boys, and Bitok I really appreciate. Yeah.
Actually, we are known earlier. Pulled
Captain, yes. But Captain will invite him to talk to older men like us. Those of us who are in the mid generation, the boys club. Then yesterday I had the privilege of spending some time. It's been a long time. Nowadays we are not able to visit our parents comfortably. Yeah.
You see, there's something I noticed over the weekend. And this guy didn't find majabu Saturday. So from where you
carry on.
The reason why it's Ruka is because it says a lot about the kind of people that you have around you. Do they challenge you to become better? They say if you have not left your village, then everything you see revolves around your village. Exactly. Like you think your barabara ya Maram ndio mambo ya mwisho. Ujaona bypass ya airport, ujaona expressway.
Ile kioski ya kijiji.
Ndio supermarket kwako. Unaona umefika. So after leaving Kashie, and he had gone to talk to the boys, this guy tells me, twende tuangalie Mogonda. Tuangalie mchanga. So we move around, just around his friends and all that. And I was very fascinated at first when he got in the first place we went. And I was like, oh, wow, people are doing great things. As we kept progressing, you realize that people are even doing crazier things. And as I was leaving in the evening, the question that I had in my mind was the people that you have around you. Because even the guys that were doing things, by the time we're getting to the end of the trip, because we did several trips around, they were also like, man, kumbe hakuna kitu nafanya. And Captain, na hiyo kakitu yako kidogo unaweza fikiria ni mnoma sana. Unaweza kuwa na kiburi ufikirie wewe umemaliza everything. But when you walk around and see the things that other men are doing, you get so humbled. And I think the thing that really you're having that discussion with Eric, because we parted around 8 p.m, right?
Yeah.
And the discussion you're having was, the people that you hang out with, how do they challenge you? Do they push you to become better? Because in life, especially for a man, there is a danger of arrival syndrome where you feel umefika until you see someone else who's doing crazier things and they're not sorting it out.
And I know he read the book The Way of Men. There is
the initial stages.
The gang.
Yeah, the gang.
What is this that you call the gang? And you remember you said it before here, that a man is not just the physical there is something inside.
Yeah.
And Bitok, allow me to say something. When you say men are doing great things, in the past there is something we call practical, utilitarian masculinity. But today, the practical masculinity has been replaced by ornamental masculinity. And that's the danger we have in society. That we have showmen, People who are doing nothing and they're calling themselves men. You know, actually, it's an insult.
Paper tigers.
Yes, you know, it is actually a degrading, an insult to real masculinity, to positive masculinity. You can't feed your children. You've abandoned your children. You can't farm. You can't work with your hands. You can't create. You can't produce. All you want is you want to be a metro man. You got to go to a salon and compete with them girls, you know, and so that you look good. And the look good makes you think that you're very Superman. You're simply an ornamental man.
Wow.
And that kind of ornamental masculinity is a trouble we are having, where you find people engaging even drunkenness, drugs, because you just want to, the showmanship.
True.
And sometimes you will find that those people don't even work. They're depending on others.
On other people.
They are riding on their parents. They are become fraudsters. When you see fraud, you know what you call the attributes and what pushes people to engage in fraud. Conmanship, you know, stealing, deception, misrepresentation. It's that kind of behavior. And that is basically what we need to get out of society.
You raise a very important point. You know, the other day we talk. There's this program I'm doing with Strathmore Business School, and in the classroom, the lecturer raised a very important issue about our young men, and he was talking about the young men that continue to stay in their parents' houses, even past their 30s and all that. And he was saying that these young men view their parents' homes as hotels, free hotels. You know, they have free accommodation, and they have free food, and they get free pocket money. And I think the question that we must ask, of course, parents have a responsibility to support their children to grow up, but we need to ask up to what point. Kwa sababu hata kuku, na unajua mtu akikuita kuku amekutukana. Kwa sababu unajua kuku hata kama angetaka kukua na akili mingi, hana space. Kichwa yake ni ndogo. Hata kuku anafika mahali anafukuza vifaranga wake. Anawaambia endeni sasa mkajitafutie.
Yes. And actually doesn't do it peacefully.
Yes, it's not a peaceful, it's a fight, you know.
It's a fight.
Go and fend for yourself.
Yes. They poke at them painfully.
Yes, I am told that the ego is worse. You know, it even throws the kids off for them to learn how to fly and all that. The question that we must begin to ask ourselves, even as we parent our children, particularly those of us who grew up in poverty, because we tend to overparent our kids. We need to ask ourselves, when is it too much? When is the love too much? When do you begin to offer tough love to the children so that you do not make them permanent dependence on you? Because I think the beauty and the joy of every parent is to see the child grow to become independent. You know, when you look at the process of a kid growing up, you're happy to see them begin to sit down. You're happy to see them toilet train. You're happy to see them begin to talk. You're happy to see them become independent. But I think we have a problem in that we may end up with a generation of young people that may not realize it is time for their engines to go on and start working. They may want to depend on their parents until they actually kill the parents, which is not a good thing.
So how do you, and the thing is, the question is, because that's something that you're raising, is that as well, we are having also parents who are either parenting out of emotion, parenting out of lack, that is compensation. Parenting out of compensation. Like, oh, Jaden wangu, msifanye hivi, mimi nilipitia hii, wachaka hivi na vile. I mean, we're also having people struggling to be parents. And I've also noticed, I saw the same thing. There's someone who was complaining, a friend of mine, they're saying the brother is 40 years. The guy bana is still gallivanting around, anasumbua, mamake is still around in the compound, kunywa, kula, no kukaa. And the question is, how do you force that transition without hurting the other person? How do you do it?
I will be very worried of Captain's input on that, and I'm waiting.
You know, Bitok.
42 years, the guys eat, no family, no family, no work. This guy doesn't work. I mean, kazi ni kusumbua just the mother. At 42.
Let me say this first and use my own example. I left my father's cradle at the age of 19, and I've never been back. Yes. and I have not died. And I came to Nairobi, and I had walks from Mathare kwa Chief. Ninatembea mpaka Parklands campus, Mlango Kubwa. And I have said before some of the things I used to see, you know. I have old men I revere up to this day because they would allow me to spend a whole Saturday with them selling a mituba, and I would go back to college with 1 or 2 shirts, which I would iron nicely and sell to my classmates. You see? I believe in enterprise. That is the basic thing I want to say. When I was at university, I can tell you, and I have said it here before, that I can tell you what typing paper, photocopying paper,
I remember
70 grams, 70 grams, 80 grams, 110 grams. I know paper very well. And I was doing that with a friend of mine who he's a doctor, and he ended up starting a club at Upper Hill. Yes, a doctor. I mean, you see enterprise, and enterprise is very good because I was able, before even I completed university, to build a decent house.
Wow.
Because I was making some little money on the side. I also know people. Today, one of the very senior professors in law was a kinyozi. He was the official kinyozi during our time in university. Today, he's a professor. So when Bitok tells the young people here, retire your egos, become practical masculinity. Don't go putting nail varnish on your nails and being an ornamental man.
Nahuna kakitu.
Nahuna kakitu. I mean, that's not. And I also want to challenge the girls. Please, if you see a man who behaves that way, please keep away. Now, let's get to the point of a child moving out of the compound. We are all working very hard. We are all trying to make something for ourselves and for our generations. Who are children to you, gentlemen? Children are supposed to be the hostages to your fortune. The fortune you and your spouse makes. Okay? And that's why we say you've acquired something in the community or within the community of marriage. You know, when you become Mr. and Mrs., your singularity stops to occur. Now, you create another institution. You surrender 50%, the other person surrenders 50%. So you create 100, and that's why you create that union. And that institution can even pledge for credit. Your wife can go and say, I am Mrs. Eric Mwangi. I need these goods. Mr. Mwangi will pay. Mr. Gerard Bitok will pay. You know, your wife can pledge your credit equally. If it is her who is well endowed, she can go. You can go and pledge and say, "Mama will tupatiwe boga." You know, for men, we may not be very good at that. We could say on the side that boga iletwe, mama akipita jioni atalipa. That is what is called creating an institution. Then you get children. That's why in law we call them issues. You issue that union issues something to society. Yes, when we go to court, we never call children that they beget 3. No, we say the union was blessed with 3 issues. You issued something to society.
Okay.
Now these issues, they become the hostages to the fortune you accumulate. But between age 1 and 18, you are the masters of their life. True. They are not your masters. This is why when I have met parents who tell me that my child is crying for a phone, I want to say this. Today I will go to school to pick my daughter. She doesn't have a mobile phone. And I confirm she will be 18 at the end of this month, on 30th. And that is when we discuss a mobile phone. Why? Because I am the master of her life. She is not the master of my life. The fortune I'm accumulating, she's only a hostage to the extent that I can extend parental responsibility beyond 18 if she's unable to look after herself. The reason, in Kenya, we know that people go to college after 18. So I will be required to invest, to put some further investment if she doesn't get a help loan so that she can go through university.
True.
After that, she gets the power to read and write and do all that appertains to the degree or the diploma or the certificate. What would she be doing in my house? Then that's the question. And you've talked about overparenting and overcompensation. Yes, we grew up with a lot of, I don't like to call it poverty because sometimes it has connotations of us putting our parents down. Let's say we grew with historical disadvantages. we were disadvantaged. Let's be
imepakwa honey na bluebird. Lazima tukule hiyo.
The reason we do that, Eric and Bitok, is that we are what we are because they are what they are.
True.
You get? So when sometimes you use that word poverty, remember before you realize that there are people who had aeroplanes and yachts and all manner of things, you thought your own father and your own mother are the richest people in the world.
True.
So grant that to them.
Yeah.
Grant that to them. So now, when you talked of overcompensation, this is the danger where somebody is 21, 24, 27, and you still want to father and mother them. Hello. And I keep telling people this, and there was a time one of the pastors issued a warning to young men and women and said that if you find a young man who after school, after college, working, is still living with mom and dad, you find a young girl who left the village, she's still living with sister and auntie, don't marry them. Because he said, I am warning you, this person does not know what it means to pay a bill. This person does not know what it means to look after themselves, because they are dependent even at adulthood.
True.
And this is a danger. And let's look at it this way. How do you chase that? We had an example, and Gerard, I will use that example because I also put it in social media. We had Bernard Dongo, the son of Ferdinand Waitito, arrested last week. He was driving a Probox, and I could see the answers he was telling people. It's not my Probox. And his father rightly said that, yes, it's not his car. Actually, it is our worker's car, which he took because he spoiled his car, because he went out and got an accident while drunk. Now he's been arrested. And he called his father 30 times. The father did not pick his calls. The father also warned all the relatives, if you pick his call and bail him out, we're not friends. He also called his friends and did the same. It's called tough love. It's called tough love.
Yeah.
He spent 2 days in police custody. Amelala kwa simiti. Tunasema huyu ni mtoto wa former mheshimiwa, former governor. Kwa nini amelala kwa simiti? That is what is called fathering and parenting, 411. This fellow has now gotten to a point where he's using his indiscretions, his addictions and truancy, and you become, there is what you call guilt by association. If his father does not take alcohol, why would you afford alcohol if your father does not take alcohol? He may be a multi-millionaire, but why would you take alcohol? If you can afford alcohol, I usually tell people this, and anybody who is my relative who lived with me, the day you start affording alcohol, tobacco, or such other things that make you an addict, that is the day you leave my house. Because it means you are capable of financing your life.
Because these are luxuries
These
anyway.
are luxuries. Actually, they are beyond the normal luxuries. They are beyond the normal comfort. And that is a good example. Besides anything else Mr. Waitito may have done, he showed an example, that is an example of true manhood and practical masculinity. You must tell this fellow that it is your time. And I saw the media quoting, and the young man said he's not going to get drunk again because that is the only way he can learn.
He's learned he's on his own now.
He's learned how painful it is. Nobody's going to come and clean up after you. If you poo-poo where you sleep, you're going to get, you either sleep with a poo-poo or you clean up after yourself. And that is what parents must do. And that was a very, very good example. So when we talk about people living at 40, what is the conversation? And we've talked about this. What is the conversation people are having with their children? For example, I want to challenge fathers. Every time I picked fish when going to school, I was never given fish by my mother. Even if she were, I don't know whether I would know that sometimes she's gone looking for the money. But she would never give it to me by heart. I would always be summoned to a meeting with my brothers by Mzee. And Mzee would tell you to sit around him with stools as he sits in his comfortable seat and tells you, this is the money, the only money in this home. You have all taken it. You have left us with nothing. So if the money gets lost, please get lost also and don't come back home.
Potea pia.
You know, I don't understand what kind of parenting and this kababa kamama. I really don't understand how the child can be the one dictating to you. This child cannot come pay for their accommodation. They cannot pay for their food. They cannot pay for their clothing. They cannot travel on their own. They can't afford. How can they dictate to you as a parent? That means you are not ready. You remember what Gerard said? There are some people who are trying to learn to parent. You know? Why, for example, would my mother walk and start by her kitchen and she's listening to I and my brother being taken through the motions by her husband, my father? It's because she was also creating a role, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember telling Bitok the other day and saying it here, that even when a mother is telling the child, you tell them when they are making prayer, we say, our Father who art in heaven. So even when you want things done for you, ask your Father who is on earth.
True.
And that's now you create role playing.
Yeah.
And you start very early so that you're very clear in your mind that this person, when you tell them to leave, they will leave. Now, in up country, it's not a big problem because we all know among the Kikuyus, when you go through initiation, you're not going to sleep in your mother's house. You go to look for a thingira. Okay?
So
I know it happens where Gerard comes from.
I also left the village at
19. It happens in Meru. It happens in Masailad.
Yeah.
Even in Luolad, there is Simba. A young man lives and builds his Simba. That's very good. But this is an extension we must begin to have this conversation in town.
Yeah, in
Nairobi, and I want to give a practical example. I have a friend of mine who was a senior officer in the military. So one day I walked to his compound and I asked him, why are you destroying your beautiful house? And he told me, I have 2 carports here, but I am putting pillars below them. I want to destroy them so that my son Mungai is going to have his Siba up there. Because he has left high school. He's not going to sleep in the same house with his mother. And then I asked him why. He said, look, this young man is now an adult. True. He might start doing 1 or 2 things which I don't like to see. You know, and this is now the danger. Yeah. There are some things you start doing after adulthood which your parents are not very comfortable with. Sure. Please, we as parents must begin to teach these children that these things you do them away from the cradle, from the shrine, the family shrine. Because do not discredit the family shrine with your indiscretions. You know? And this is the conversation parents must have with children. That once you get to this age, please find a way. And then we must also do this. You know, when we talked about the way men are living, you know, in the past, if you did not build a thingira, what would we do, Eric? I would move to my friend who has his thingira.
True.
And for some time before I do mine, I would eat in my mother's compound and then go and spend the night in my friend's thingira. Now, you have a situation here in town where every young man wants his nice posh place. If you can't afford it, please, you need to learn what's happening in other words, in other countries. People are even sharing houses, you know, where people now take a full house. There are 5 or 6 young people, okay? And now they share the utilities, they share the bills, and they live on. And then they stop the dependency on their parents. True. If after 18 or after adulthood in Europe, a young man or a young woman has to call and book an appointment to go and see his parents, then those people who are living in urban centers in Kenya today and in Africa must begin to understand what urbanization is all about. It's a fairly modern concept in Africa. We've not had it for more than 100 years. Some countries 70, between 70 and 100. And so it's a transition that we are having. But this conversation we must have, that somebody at a certain point must leave home.
Their parents' house.
Must leave their parents' home.
And I think the question becomes, how do we reignite? See, every man needs to have, for lack of a better word, a particular level of pride. That for the young man, he needs to have a bare minimum pride as he grows up that makes him say that at the age of 25,
I should be out.
I should be out. Even if I will be living in Githurai or wherever I'll be living, but I'm the one who is paying the bill for that house that I'm living in. Or if my dad is going to give me a place where I can set up my own kasimba or my own house, I am going to do it. The question that I would want us to debate, even beyond this show, is how do we reignite this? Because this pride seems to be lost. Because Bitok, when you give us an example of a 40-year-old man who is comfortable to depend on his mother. It's sad.
And he's actually terrorizing the mother.
Yeah, and it's not just depending, because that is bad enough to depend, but he's also terrorizing the mother. He's disturbing the peace of an elderly person, somebody who should be given peace to live the remaining part of their life peacefully for the job they have done for society. They've brought up kids. Because this is a question that even parents are asking themselves. It's a big question. The mother of such a man is asking herself, what did I do wrong? And what do I need to redo? Yeah, so that these people can be able to pick up. There's always the excuse that, we give in society, there are no jobs, there are no jobs, there are no jobs. But the question is, for how long are we going to give this excuse, there are no jobs? Because these are the same people that even if you give them a job to do, they are choosy on the job that they can do. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They want a job in a particular organization. They do not want to start at the bottom of the pyramid. They want to jump to the top of the pyramid. I think it's a whole question of how do we reset our minds, our psychology, to even accept where we are. That yes, you may be a graduate, you have a degree. But guess what? If what you studied in campus is astronomy, and there is no company in Kenya that is planning to go to the moon or to go to Mars, then you have to be willing to look for something that is practical within your context to do it. I ask myself these questions because I see the burden that parents have. I have a lot of retirees, Bitok, who are my partners in the business. And, we get to discuss social issues. And this question of young people at home, not working, all of them saying the same thing, that there are no jobs, is real, and it's something that we need to begin to confront. If there are no jobs, I think our first job becomes to ask ourselves, how do we create these jobs? How do you become part of the solution to your joblessness? Because you have to be willing to create your own jobs. I have met parents who say, I'm willing to buy my son a taxi. I have even seen parents, captain, who come to our company and buy the son a taxi.
Yes.
And within 3-4 months, again, you're called to mediate because the guy is drinking himself silly. He's causing careless accidents with the taxi. Now it even becomes a threat to his own life. I think we are caught up between the rock and the hard place. And this conversation, and particularly for the boy child, is one that we need to further. We need to find ways of actually getting into society to speak to these young men, to reignite this pride. You would rather have 5 boys renting one room of 20,000.
Yes.
And all of them contributing 2,000, or whatever amount they are going to contribute, at least to be independent and to afford their own food.
Yes.
Yeah, so that they are even able to challenge each other, than have all of them staying in their parents' houses, disturbing the peace of the parents. So you have somebody who is a consumer at the prime of his life. See, it's okay to be a consumer when you're young.
Yeah.
It is the responsibility of your parents to provide for you. But now the moment you start getting to the age of 35, 40, and you're still in that category of a consumer, at what point do you pick up? Because after 35, you begin to get to the second half of your life. When will the society feel you at the prime of your energy and feel your impact? We need to ask these questions.
Even as before I make a comment, if you are Waititu, what could you do?
I think I would take the same direction he took. I am a firm believer of what Captain has said. There are all mistakes that my son will make at a particular age, and he will have to pay the consequences of those mistakes. Why? Because he knows what is right and what is wrong. And like Captain says, if you can afford bills for the brown bottles, you need to afford the consequences for the brown bottles. You see, by the time you're beginning to take the brown bottles, you should be having a level of mental capacity and sobriety that will not be diluted by 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. So if you take them and you get diluted and now you're reading 180 kilometers per hour as if it is 18 kilometers per hour and you're caught for overspeeding, then you better have the 10K to pay your cash bill. If not,
you stay in the store.
Stay in and help clean the markets.
The reason why
really good.
Why I think I liked what the Mr. Waititu did. First, you see, this fellow was arrested, drunk driving. Then even when he went to court, you could see the arrogance, He was even telling the journalists and laughing, it's not my car. I drive a better car. You know, you can see the display of arrogance.
Yes.
And his father had to put him in his proper place. You are a dependent. You are a hostage to my fortune. You are not me, you know. Your child is not you. The reason I'm raising and I like this is, you know, during the first time when we had very strict health protocols because of COVID, we had reports of a senior citizen, a renowned person, who paid ambulances to go and pick his drunken children. You get? That is the behavior that we must abhor. Now, there is also something you've raised, Eric. Are you expecting a paycheck at the end of this month? Are you expecting a paycheck? No, a paycheck.
A paycheck, no.
Yeah.
No.
You
no.
working for that.
Yeah.
Bitok, are you expecting a paycheck?
So you're working towards
You're working towards
Yes.
that.
Okay, so you wake up every day, you work.
Yeah.
I tell people I work by the minute because I will do small businesses, including educating young people on financial independence. Yes. And I want to say this. You've said something about jobs. I don't like that word job. Because there are no jobs in this country, but there's a lot of work.
True.
So we have jobless people who can't work.
They cannot see the work.
They cannot see the work. And I want to give you examples. And I like to use practical examples. And I have used one before, and I want to repeat it. That we also had a clip that was going around that the biggest hurdle of investors in Africa is not the money and the resources all the time. It is trust. Which people are you entrusting with your business?
Very true.
So that we've got a situation where if I want to start a business, I'm going to wait for my child to leave school. I'm going to wait for my cousin. I'm going to wait. And you see, that's what happens in many businesses.
Yeah.
In other words, we are engaging in what is called in business affinity trust.
Yeah.
You know, unless somebody is related to me, I'm not sure they will look after my interests.
Yeah.
And that's a danger.
True.
Why? Today, Eric, in 2012, I had 9 grade cows in the village.
Wow.
9 of them. And my father would be the one taking the milk to the dairy or to the collection point. And at that point, he was doing the best because he would either have 4 or 5 which are producing. And that time you have 2-3 workers. You have one person who comes daily to help them, and 2 other persons are employed permanently. My own relatives. One of them stayed. Others may not be direct relatives, but you know, anybody in your village is likely to be somehow related to you. Yeah. But they started stealing, you know, and selling the milk. Even selling manure, which I would use to change, you know, the look of the farm where they were getting the fodder.
Yeah.
Now, what was I supposed to do? That meant I would have to drive from Nairobi, get a pickup, go to Mwea, pick the rice husks, you know, those rice husks, go and mix them with the cattle feed from a producer nearby, and then create very good animal feed. Sure. Was I doing this because I'm not a lawyer and I can sit in an office?
Of course not.
There is difference between job and work.
Yeah.
So I was working. Okay?
Yeah.
To this day, I am still a believer in dairy production, so that even when I want to assist those who are very needy in my family, the best I can do is buy you a heifer, so that you look after it, and it is mine. We will only discuss the production when it comes. So there is a lot of work, but there are very few workers. This country is importing maize. Why? This country is importing rice.
Sugar,
this country
everything.
cannot feed itself.
Yeah.
I went to Kisumu East one day, and I found young guys who've decided, yes, we are graduates. There's nothing much we are doing, but we know people in Nairobi now they want to eat doma and gwashi for breakfast. So they are producing them. I have a young man in a part of Nyeri South and Murang'a North, a number of them, and you know the arrowroot doma.
Yeah.
And those young men have committed themselves, and I see what they do. They walk around the plains, you know, talking to mamas and saying who is harvesting, so that they buy in bulk and send those things to Nairobi. One of them is a graduate of Kenya Poly, and he really impressed me because he told me hakuna kazi. I told him sio hakuna kazi. Kazi ni nyingi. Kazi ya ofisi ndio hakuna. So he makes sure the mamas harvest. puts it in a matatu, calls the restaurant owner, they are coming, this is the cost, please send me my money, the money, so that I can pay the farmers. He is making the market meet the producer. Now, why we go to school and you cannot even do that?
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Right.
And I want to challenge even the young men who live around Nairobi. You know, Bitok, I have met young men who live here who do not know that there is a road between Gong, Kiserian, Matasia, or Lepolos to Isinya. They've never been there, but they are in Nairobi. They grew up here, and they are in their 30s.
They're just sitting in one place.
No? You know, with this kind of behavior, where people are not being asked to move out of the cradle. You know, as you say, birds force their young ones out. Even parents need to do that. You need to nudge this person. Get out. After that, I'll mention something about what we call the cycles of growth and the ages. What there are certain
what you're supposed
ages,
to be doing.
What you're supposed to be doing at a certain age. Yes.
Okay. All right. Elizabeth Karani says masculinity must be taught by example to our young men. Many are too feminine and cannot protect and provide for their own like it used to happen in the past. Women are now more masculine. Mina Winston, a time is coming when there are no jobs will no longer be an excuse among youths. As youths, we need to be creative and create resources for ourselves. Amen. That's incredible. That's nice. I was also saying someone here, Nelson Tue says, a bit of vaccine. Why is it not readily available to hospitals? Every time you go, they claim it's out of stock, yet you hear on media, Ministry of Health announcement that we go get vaccinated. Mulili David, these gentlemen are spilling wisdom. That's the truth. The parents ought to be conversing with their children. Elizabeth Karanja, timely conversation. Kusimo Desam, good morning. Good morning to you, Kusimo. I'm saying also Mercy Favor. Shabe says good conversation. Asante sana. Good morning to you, Elizabeth Karanja. Abiri Coolers. Good morning, Bitok, watching the tackle from Stockholm. Give my greetings to Sir Eric and Captain. Always great having them in studio. Asante sana. Beking Jr. says, let's talk about capital sourcing, enterprise startups. I'll take note for that. I think you'd have to say more about that, Eric. Because I think you've really invented a lot of models that gets people to invest their money in it. And I'm learning from you very quickly. Kim Tai Chris was ever stop loan in Kenya, cash money instead use loans for loan us in form of COVID doses. Corona, someone to pay pesa mtatumia vaccine. Aya vile bunge, good morning team tackle falling from Kapsabet. Asante sana Lacoste, good morning. Ted Tana, good morning Bitok watching from Ruaka. Abud Kipkoske, good morning watching live from Ziwa. Asante sana. John Kitur Kata watching. Sami Kimba, good morning live from Isiolo. Abdul Mohaz, good morning from Wajir County. Thank you so much. Leo watu wa Wajir County muliaka ngamia kwa Probox. Yenye watu. Watu Wajir bana. Vicky MC, good morning. Going left from Kibabi University, right? I think I also read that. Nels Cheps Murai nilikuwa 20. Alisema alitoka nyumbani akiwa na miaka 20. Yeye Nels. So good morning Arabi Token team. Good morning to you. Andrew Nafula. Priceless insights here. Asante sana. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Now, there is something that we talked about. I mean, before even we roll that conversation, we also need to be honest with them. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy outside here. And I remember, actually, I also left home at 20. And I left after, niliona pa mtasi ezika. And like you're saying, Eric, how these things work, like this computer is programmed to react a certain way.
True.
When you operate it at a certain level. When you click a button, enter, it's supposed to send something, it's supposed to send a command.
Yeah.
And I think programming our children is also very important. For them to have an innate, an innate decision or an innate prompt that at this point you're supposed to be doing something else.
Yeah.
And I know our good friend is getting to the cycles of life, but I think as well, we need to tell them that it's not easy.
True.
And that doesn't mean that you should not do it. If you have to do things that are easy, then you're not a man, you're not a human being, because you are not designed for easy things.
Yeah.
Even just breathing is not easy.
True.
So it's not easy, but we have to keep going. We have to stick it out.
Yeah.
I remember the number of times that I've been tempted to go back to the village several times. I remember there's a time I lost my job for almost 6 months at the time when the formative stages. And I remember my mother telling me, si ukuje nyumbani. Unateseka nini huko nje kuja? That time I was in Mukuru kwa Njenga bwana. Niko kwa Salama hapo tunapigana chenga na landlord. Nimetengeneza master key. Naingianga usiku saa 4 usiku natoka mapema asubuhi. So I remember all the times, my mother kept saying, "So kuja nyumbani, kuja nyumbani." Nini unataka kuja nyumbani?
Kuja nyumbani.
So kuja nyumbani. Nini. So there are a lot of times that you'd feel like giving up. There are a lot of times that you'd feel like it's not something you want to do anymore. There'll be every other person around you telling you, come, calling you back to the family.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to resist it because we are here. We did not die.
True.
Somehow we manage. So, I mean, we need to tell them that it's difficult. It's not easy because you realize that a lot of young men these days want things that are easy. You know, they're like, I'll come out when it's easy, when I can pay rent.
Yeah.
Come out when you cannot afford even to eat. Lalanja. That's when you know the value of food.
Take the risk. You see, I also remember when I moved out of my parents' home. And for me, I moved out of my parents' house. And then I rented a house in partnership with my friend. And we were living together. And my mom was very disturbed. She even sent my older sister, we call her cheerleader in the family, to talk to me and try to find out exactly what is wrong. And you know, it was not easy because now you have a bill. This bill is not from your mother. It's for the landlady, the landlord, the one who owns the house that you're living in. So this person is handling you like a grown-up. You know, you told me you want to rent my house. Now it's end month. You've not paid the rent. But that is the kind of pressure that makes somebody grow. And people need to understand that growth is always in the zone of discomfort. If you're in the zone of comfort, you cannot grow. Even when you go to the gym, when do your muscles grow and expand? They grow and expand when you feel the weight. When you feel, if you start lifting half a kg, bitok right now at yuko gym, unainua tuchuma hivi to half kg. How can that grow your muscles? It cannot grow your muscles. What is going to grow your muscles is exposing your muscles to weight that is slightly stronger than what the muscles can do. And what I want to encourage the person listening to us today is that sometimes that thing that makes you feel a shiver of fear, that is the thing you actually need to do. Because that is what exercises your ability to take risks, is what exercises your ability to try. But the problem right now is that we have a mindset of comfort and safety. People don't want to try so that they don't fail. Yeah, people don't want to try anything because they fear that if they fail, they are going to get embarrassed and people are going to laugh at them. People may laugh at you for failing once, but if you keep at it, tomorrow there'll be the same people that will be clapping for you. And many people actually envy you for trying. Even the people that are talking as haters and trying to discourage you from the little things that you're trying to do. Somebody wants to start selling socks on social media or vests or shirts or anything, and they are afraid. You know, what will my classmates think about me? You know, people are really trapped psychologically by things that will not help them. Somebody is worried of what his campus mates will think about him.
Exactly.
When he starts selling watches, when he starts selling shoes, when he starts selling books. Somebody is really worried by that, you know, bitok. And he is psychologically trapped to a point of being immobilized. Why? Because he believes that according to his classmates and according to his friends, he should be working in a very big company and all that. Develop a big company that is based on socks. Develop a big company that is based on watches.
The biggest importer of socks.
Yes, become the biggest importer of watches. Yeah. Tomorrow, even think of how we can be able to manufacture those watches in the country if it is possible. Yeah. But the problem is that all of us want to work in Toyota.
Yes.
But we don't want to hear the story of how Toyota started. You know, if you read the story of Toyota bitok, one of the things you will find is that Toyota started as a department in a textile company. A department that everybody in that company viewed as a money eater. You know, jua venye watu wanasemanga kuna ka department pale wanajaribu kusema wanatengeneza gari. Na sisi tunajua tu kutengeneza mafulana huku. Wao wanataka kutengeneza gari. And because, you know, the idea was futuristic. People definitely loved it at that person. So we need to encourage our young people. That business that you can start with 10,000 shillings.
Do it.
That's where you need to start. Don't tell us that you're waiting to have 1 million shillings to start a business. Start with that 10,000 shillings. In the process of doing it, you're going to meet with people. Some of the people will harass you. Some of the people will be very, very important contacts for you in future. Bitok, you know, on Saturday you released, you helped me release a vehicle to a customer, a Land Cruiser Prado. An amazing vehicle. But, you know, if I give you my history with the customer that you released the vehicle to, that is like the 5th, 6th vehicle.
Wow.
But the first vehicle I sold them was not a Prado. It was a small car because even them, they were starting out in life. Wow. But the problem is that we all want to start big. We all want to start with big name, big viewers. And social media has only made it worse for the millennials, for the younger generation.
Why? Because they want to start with a Facebook account of 100,000 views like Captain. But they do not know that even if they take Captain's phone book, the organic contacts he has are just very many based on the years that he has been here on earth. So we need to encourage our people to start small, to embrace the process, to trust the process, to be part of the process, and to not just sit there and wait for things to happen.
I think also it takes us back to ego. And I think the biggest disability is ego, thinking that you're entitled to something bigger.
Yes.
I mean, there are people every time I see my inbox, I have a degree, I have this, there are no jobs, kuna masters, kuna kazi, all these things. And I think it boils down to ego. Yeah. A lot of people come out with a lot of entitlement and ego. Just because you've gone to school, nobody owes you anything. The world does not owe you things because you have a PhD.
True.
I mean, nobody owes you. I don't owe you a job because you. I mean, you didn't go to school for me.
Yeah.
You don't owe anybody. And I keep wondering, Eric and Captain, why do you feel you're sitting in a corner imagining that you owe somebody else the comfort of what they see you doing? I don't owe you what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have missed opportunities because they want to look so grand. When you go to these cocktails and business meetings or whatever, you meet people, or when you bump into someone in the streets and you're like, oh, so what do you do, man? Atakwambia vitu ya maajabu, maybe I'm a stockbroker, or I'm an insurance this, or I'm this big thing, I'm a lawyer. They'll never tell you that they sell socks, or maybe I need socks. So a lot of young people are missing out on opportunities because they want to look grand. They want to look, so you do savvy. You want to look like, you don't want to look important. I don't owe you importance.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
I don't owe you importance.
Yeah.
I mean, if I clean toilets for a life,
Yes.
that's what I do.
That's a
You have
business.
toilets.
Yeah.
You go to toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are going to make me money by going to the toilet, I mean, I'll tell you what I do.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a serious discussion on ego. And I think that's really killing a lot of young people.
Yes.
Someone wants to, I'll come to you, Eric, and I feel like I need to relate with you at your level. And I'll not tell you what I do. Takwambia tiyo nafanyanga hivi, naanza kuambia mimi, hata mimi, na unaletanga magari, mimi naletanga caterpillars. So that usiniulize maneno ya magari. Unaweza kuwa unajua mambo ya Japan sana, ulize swali. So you find that we lose a lot of opportunity because we feel we owe someone else an explanation. You don't know anybody an explanation.
Exactly.
And nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
If you go to school, I mean, man, get down and work until you get to a point where you can. And I think also there's a problem with the way we look at school. We look at school like something that makes you a servant. Not something that empowers you.
Not
empowers you.
Not that somebody makes you a servant. School actually, the kind of the education system we have today actually reduces you to a life of servitude.
Yeah.
Because you think you cannot do for yourself. Yeah. You see, I said I work on a daily basis, by the minute. Eric, you see, I when I have paid for the rights for limited distribution, for certain, I have over 1,000 books, but some of them I'm yet to receive the rights for limited distribution. But the ones I have, I insist and insist. Why do you think I insist that? 100. 20 people buying, that's 2,000 shillings. 2,000 shillings. I have a lot of young people getting into my inbox and saying very nasty things. I don't block them. So I just look at their folly. Because somebody tells me life must be really hard. You have a blue tick, you have a lot of followers, you put there you are a wakili, na unauza vitabu 100. Now, if I sell 100 books, you have made 10,000 shillings. I've made 10,000 shillings.
That contact list.
Yes.
That now you can sell to tomorrow.
Yeah. During that time, there is something you learn as I go along. We remember talking here about what is this that we need to do. This is a business I've done for only 6 months. I want to do it for 10 years. For 10 years. Now, I want us to get into something that we're looking at young people graduating. That make believe you are in university. You are in college. Nobody teaches you the ethics of work.
True.
The ethics of
work.
And I want to distinguish here between a job and work. A job is a type where you work in, I want to call the public service the perfect job. Because in the public service, your boss is not your employer. You know that? No, your boss is not your employer. Your boss just happens to have, at that point, the trustee on behalf of the public to be in charge of the resources, both human, capital, and financial for that agency. Okay, the CEO. So the CEO of a state corporation is also an employee.
It's an employee, yeah.
Equally, the board members. You see, all of you are employees. And you can be sacked.
Yeah.
You get from the top to the bottom. Now, so the fact that somebody is senior doesn't mean that then they can literally wake up one day and tell you to go away.
True.
Because they are certain you have procedural safeguards.
Yeah.
But you come to my enterprise. In my enterprise, I make the rules.
True.
I decide who stays
and who goes.
Yeah. Because it is my capital, whether it is financial capital or intellectual capital.
Yeah.
Intellectual capital, because we have said before, when some of us are in the knowledge economy, I'm the one who knows what is supposed to be done.
True.
If I'm dealing with somebody with the tax issues, that is where I like best. Because I practiced tax law for 15 years. And I learned the tricks. So since that is my way of business, that is my knowledge. So if you cannot cope with the way I work, we would have to part.
True.
And I will not have to, I don't need boards to sit there. No, and in fact, the rules I'm making for my business, even where the laws requires that I hear you and you make presentations, I will make them in such a manner that they favor my business.
Yes.
And even in the business registration and even in employment law, you will find that the law also has, to a certain point, favors businesses, so that there is always where it is government. You know, government is making administrative actions. So it will also be bound not by the Employment Act, but also by the Fair Administrative Action Act. But your business and mine, they will not be bound by that.
True.
Because it is private business. Okay. And this is the whole focus of what value. For me to stay with you as an employee, or even as an apprentice, for me to ask you to come as a pupil in my office so that you learn the tricks of advocacy. What value are you bringing? You're going to hoist with you your master's degree and your PhD. Of what value are they to me? The value you're bringing is converting that knowledge into
solutions that customers can
into solutions, and those solutions bring income.
True.
You must translate knowledge into capital.
Yeah.
And this is the disconnect we have in this country. Okay? And until we address that, and I don't want to call it ego, I want to call it lack of looking at our education system. The education system does not prepare the people for
the reality in the market.
Reality and
let me give you an example. A young person, and this is somebody I've actually lately decided I'm going to help. A young person wrote me an inbox and said that they want a job at MARIDADY Motors. And I told them, at the moment, we do not have an opening at MARIDADY Motors, but I have an assignment that I can give you to do for me for 1 month. So that is the time when I was planning to open Sparkling Motor Spa, which is basically a section of MARIDADY Motors that does car care, cleaning cars. So basically, it's a car wash. So I told this young person, I want you to move around the city for me, identify the best car washes around, and consume their services, and take videos for me. So if, for example, you're doing buffing, I want to see how the buffing they are doing. If they're doing engine wash, I want to see how they are doing their engine wash. If they're doing upholstery, anything they're doing, I want you to just go consume the service. I'll give you the car, I'll fuel it, I'll give you the money to go and pay. I just basically want to sample where the industry is when it comes to car care here in Kenya. And do you know, the young person declined that opportunity. Told me that is not the kind of a job they're looking for. Never mind, they are business students, and it's okay for someone to know what they want. So the irony is, I got somebody else to do the job. It was done, and I got the data that I needed, and I set up the car wash. I think you've been to Seattle City Mall. You have a fleet of cars. Today you clean this, tomorrow you clean the other one. You've cleaned all your cars there. Yeah. So this young person happened to go to Seattle, and he saw the business. And I was like, oh my God, this is the car wash that you wanted to set up? can you still give me a job?
Wow.
Job. You know, get the word.
Yeah.
Job.
Can you give me a job in that car wash? And I was like, excuse me, you would actually be the manager. Because you know what people don't realize is that if you help an entrepreneur set up, by default, many times you take the managerial position.
Yes.
Because you're the one now who understands the business. So I told the person, you know, by now that the team is full. It's full because you didn't see the opportunity.
The train has left the station.
Yes. The problem is that sometimes the person looking for a job is not able to see the work, like Captain is saying. This person wants to look for a job in a hotel that is already established. I talked to one person some times back, and I told him that time the bypass was being built, and this person was studying these things to do with catering.
Yes.
I told him, you know, you're busy looking for a job in the Serenas and the Kempinskis and the other places. I don't think that is the best place for you to start. There are so many other hotels under construction. In fact, if you go and look at the construction board that is required by the city council for you to put up, it will always tell you what is being built. And if you read there, you know, proposed hotel, that is the place for you to start monitoring. But all of them want to start in the established places, and which presents a very big problem because also the established business wants to hire people who are experienced. It doesn't want to gamble with the people who are starting.
They are not building a brand.
Yeah,
They have it.
They have it, so they can get the best from the market. So I think we need to come back, like Captain is saying, because these things are not being taught in school. Our young people need to be taught. When you're young, your highest priority should not be a big name or big money. It should be to acquire the skills for you to get a launching pad, for you to go to the next big place.
There's a discussion we're having, Eric, over the weekend, if you can remember, about that's the biggest worry for men right now is transition. It's generational transition. I think that's the biggest pain and the biggest fear, and I've seen it happening quite often. And apart from what you were talking about, I also met some old man sometime last week during the week, and he has a son. He's fairly doing well. The old man, he has amassed wealth here and there. He has property. He has almost 5 acres in Karen. He has set up something before that, then it was destroyed. 2 men that I've met. The other one, again, the same thing. You know, he's fairly doing well, and he has a son. Or he has sons. Now these boys, moja ni bangi, mwingine ni hesabu ana. For him, it's just about waking up in the morning and just roaming around until it's evening and retiring again. Now, this one with the 5 acres has left the 5 acres with the guy. This other one has left a whole house, a big house. Told the guy, all mansion, I think almost should be close to 7 bedroom in Karen. And he has built an SQ on the side, around 3 bedroom, 3 or 2 bedroom house. So, the same problem. Then there's no initiative, there's nothing. And he's worried that, okay, today if I drop dead, what happens to all the, where do I, where's the continuation?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest worry, and remember Eric was telling you these days, that even our worry as a generation today is not even getting the money. We'll get it. It's a transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
That comes after you've gotten all these things. After we have all these things we amassed. What is the continuation? Where do we hand over to? If you're raising children who don't see any initiative in doing anything, who you can know for real, they'll not do anything. They'll not, they'll not really transition your business. And that's why you find most of the time administrators come in. You find that Eric, after building MARIDADY Motors to an international ISO certified company that's trading and all that, he cannot leave it to his son because the son is a vagabond. You would rather leave it to the guy working for him, maybe Brad, now to take the administration of that place. And then again, when you die, your own son and your own children will come and terrorize this guy and take over the business. And I think the biggest worry that we're having right now is where we hand over the baton.
Succession.
You know, the succession of all them. I think that's the biggest headache for our generation. And you wonder, okay, how do we fix this?
And Bitok, Eric says, and it is true, nimekula chumvi kidogo zaidi. And I remember I really wanted to get Wanja come to this show, if you remember.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she got unwell. And right now, she's still not okay.
Okay. We pray for her quick
she
recovery.
will be very okay.
Yeah.
And and we hope she will come here. You know the reason I want her to come here? Because her experience in business did not begin at age after university. It began even before age 18. And do you remember the words I used when she told me that she has told me to tell her father that she doesn't want to be employed. She wants into business. And her father was like, after educating you, Strathmore Business College, Bachelor of Business Information, you know, and you first class, you don't want to work. And she said, Dad, yes, I don't want to work. So why? And you know the explanation she told me. Tell Dad that when I left high school, him and Mom would go to abroad and leave me running this business for a month. And if I did not collapse the business at that time, why would I collapse mine?
True.
You get?
Yeah.
Bitok, you've raised a very important issue. So I am running a few things around. So because of that ego, I don't want my own child to do the things I did.
True.
Why? Why shouldn't your child spend time in the car wash?
He should.
He should, you know, and that's also the difference. That's pride. You know, we have a situation where
Ni mtoto wa mdosi.
yes, you know, in this country that first, if I have a child in school, number one, I don't want to be known by any parent, any other parent. I don't even want the school to know who I am. Because it's not important. It's not me who is in school.
It's the child.
It's the child who is in school.
Yeah.
And I want the child to be treated just like all the other children. So that they can learn how to live in that society. And that's the mistake people make.
They take their titles to the school.
Yes, you take their titles to your school. You okay? You know, when I took my own child to a school, to a high school, I was also a board chair in another school, larger than, or basically the same size as that. Was I going to go and tell the principal and the other board chair, I am also Mkubwa, where I come from? That's not relevant. Even when the other parents told me, please invited me to help them and become a member of the PTA, I told them, sorry, thank you. Sorry? Thank you. Because I want my child to learn normally and go smoothly within the school system. That's the mistake number one. Mistake number one. That you are taking your titles. Ukubwa yako ndio ya mtoto yako. Mtoto si mkubwa.
True.
Wewe ndio mkubwa. So please, your big titles, your big profession, keep it away from school. Do not go and tell a teacher that mimi ni wakili nitakushtaki. Hello. Really?
Because you're planting arrogance now.
Yes, you are planting arrogance. And, you know, a behavior that you will not later control.
True.
That's rule number one. Rule number two, work. I say this because I know the parents of the lady. I really will want her to come here. And she will explain how she set up her enterprise. Okay? And you see, for you to be allowed, in fact, the father was like this. You're not going to set up your business in your name. I'm going to kind of give you a branch of the bread that we already have. It's you to run it. When you run it in the course and it rises up, then we will part. You see, that is mentoring. That is mentoring. So this person began to understand how a business runs, how setting. This is a graduate, and I wish, you know, in the business they are in, she deals with tailors, she deals with fashion designers, people who are, the people I have seen because I've been in that business. The people who walk in are not people in suits. No, actually, ni mafudi ya nguo, nini, and she has learned the tricks. Even so, ameshuka. She has thrown away her ego. Yes, so she's dealing. So she will get a phone, and sometimes she tells me, Captain, please hold on. Let me deal with this customer. So the customer is explaining, I'm in Maua Meru. I need this material. I need this one. Cut this size. They discuss. So she has accumulated knowledge on fabrics, which I would take years and years to accumulate. And she knows that industry. So even when she goes to EPZ, she says, they don't have what I want. Because that is experiential knowledge. When people talk of experience, you think experience is working for me in my office. Experiential knowledge is that when I need anything to do with material, I can only ask her. But she's like my daughter. You get? Because that is an area she is Good in.
Good in.
When you want material for curtain, I call her. Can I get this? She's, that's not good here. That is the knowledge, business knowledge. And this is where we must focus our young people to.
Okay.
That, and the parents. That
Also need to be an orientation.
Yes, and you see, we must learn from other people.
Yeah.
We've got the Asian community in Kenya.
True.
The Asian community, they take their children to school. Okay? But if he's an ophthalmologist, I have seen, because I know I use one, and I keep asking him, and now I told him that the first time I came here, when I picked my first pair of glasses, you are very young. Now you are balding. He told me, you start with my father. You start with... he said, you start with my father. Now I am the one here. You get from father to son. So he will even tell me sometimes that the kind of lens you want, I don't have it here. I have to import. He's learned not to cheat a customer. Who taught him? His father.
The values of
I was never his customer, but I have transited from the father to the son. That is the whole question of what you're talking about. So today, I can assure you that Waja's dad, and I like to use her as an example because I was part of what she did.
The conflict resolution.
Yes. Trying to also convince the old man, give her the capital. She thinks she has a plan. Okay. And now I understand what it means to mentor to success. Because this old man, sometimes he will be away from the business for a whole month. He knows it will run. It will not go down. Because he already began training somebody at age 18. Now he's began training daughter number 2. Okay? Who is also a master's degree holder. Apart from being a lecturer, now she tells me she wants to her to do lecturing is part-time. Business is full-time. Can you see the cycle? Somebody left university in Kenya, went abroad, got a master's degree, already left with another postgraduate course in Kenya, came back, started teaching universities, taught a few years, said, hey, hii mshahara ni kidogo. They ask, why? The salary is small. Because this is a person who knows that business can make more money. Okay. Now, they also have to discuss that you cannot come to the family business and sell the flagship, what the family flagship sells. You've got to look for alternative and complementary products. So she had to go online and search and say, this one goes with this. Start her own. So now you learn, as you say, the contact list, because you see, the people who buy from her parents and the sister also need those other things from other businesses. So she's accumulating or using that as an advantage. But she's got to start on her own. And after some time, she will now tell me, no, I'm leaving the lecturer job. I now want to come here and do this full-time and do lecturing part-time. How many of our people are ready to do that? Because they are fixated with job but not work.
Okay. So kuna watu tumewasaa watu wa YouTube saying clear fast and good morning to you. Take Ethiopia. You bit watching from Embu. Asante sana the guys on YouTube. Sharon Michelle, good morning, salamu mingi kutoka Netherlands. My love, thank you so much Sharon Michelle all the way from Netherlands. It's good to see you. John Eliakim tuned in, appreciating the nugget of wisdom from Captain and Sir Eric. Thank you for the show bitoka. Asante sana. John Eliakim says kazi ni nyingi, kazi ofisi ndio hakuna. Powerful Captain. Angela Kitheki, starting small, a big challenge to most of us. Listening to you, gentlemen, I feel encouraged and I know what must be done. My son and I will have a healthy chat going forward. Thank you so much, Angela Kitheki, and I wish you all the very best. If there is a time when you need our input as men to come and have a conversation with your son, we are very ready. By the way, kama kuna mtu unataka kuna kamuti yako amekusumbua kijana, unaweza tuita. Nani captain akivunja, sisi tunamuongelesha.
Captain will be the last the soldier, the last resort.
Anaweza vunja
kwanza tunaenda na bitok.
Kwanza negotiation. Angela Kidek says my son and I must get down and dirty our hands agribusiness tukuze vyakula. Asante sana. Tafadhali enda pale uchape kazi na ukianza kutengeneza chakula kitoko tweet we'll buy from you. We'll buy as a sign of goodwill and the fact that we appreciate what you're doing. I can also see Eric Avran watching you from Vietnam. Thank you so much to the guys watching us from Vietnam. Thank you so much for tuning in to the tackle, and keep sending your comments. And also if there's anything that you want us to talk about specifically, please let us know so that we can be able. This is your show, so I mean we could not be telling these things to anyone if we have to tell ourselves. So it's about you. Kagife Fate back on Facebook. Agi Fate and some good morning. Elizabeth Karanja, apprenticeship is not common in Kenya. Family businesses, Kenya family businesses most want their children to go to school so they can get an education and do better than their parents. Which is it's an amorphous. It's an oxymoron.
Yeah,
it's an oxymoron.
What is doing better
so
than
Eric,
the
I
parents?
want to throw it back to you the same question because it's a conversation that me and you have had for a very long time. And now there's something that Captain has mentioned about a parent training the son.
Yeah.
Or the daughter, the father to, what was the name of the Wanja?
Yeah.
Wanja. Now, this old man I was telling you about, severally, najaribu kuambia kijana kenda hata kwa duka umanage enda uangalie biashara. The boy does one. Anaenda kidogo anapotea. Anaenda kupotea. So that's how do you deal with this?
I think
I mean it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. I talk as someone who is also, trying to do it at a personal level. And maybe I could learn a lot from Captain.
Yeah.
When I look back to my childhood, I learned to work, and I got the attitude of work by force from my mom, because she would take us to the shamba. And she would always give that condition in the morning. Usipoenda shamba, wewe ujue mahali utakula. Okay? Now, we no longer have the farms. See, like now me, mine is not a farming job. I am in business. But kids, when kids are young, they have the natural curiosity to want to learn to do things. I think we need to stop finding it as primitive to go with our kids to work.
Yes.
Okay? And I've even talked to my team at MARIDADY Motors. I've told them, on Saturdays, if you want to come with your child here, come with them. They are 5-year-old. Even if they are not going to listen to you as a mom, they are going to listen to me.
As an uncle.
And you can tell them I'm the big boss here. So if I tell them to just sit there and welcome customers, they are going to sit there and welcome customers. And we have basically agreed, even with my spouse, my wife is an ophthalmologist. Captain, looks like you can consume services from my home. I bring some money to my family before I sell you a car. We've agreed that if any of our children has interest in medicine, it becomes her responsibility to mentor them. She plans to do her own practice in the near future. Go with them to the clinic. Let them start by cleaning, by welcoming customers. So sometimes when you come to MARIDADY Motors, you will normally find my son seated on the computer. I know that half the time he's trying to dodge and play computer games, but I give him actual work to do. I tell him, these are the cars I want you to look for, and tell me how much they are costing. What am I trying to do? Or even take them to the car wash. I am trying to bring them to the world of work while they are still young and while they still have the curiosity. Why? Because when you leave them at home, the lifestyle that we are living today here in the city, the only thing you leave them to is to watch cartoons and all these things on the computer. The house has a maid, so they don't even have a lot of house chores to do. Even though I must appreciate that I have seen a lot of effort, like particularly from home. My kids have duties at home on what they do. So there are days you will wake up and find the boy is his day to make juice with a blender and all that. The juice is not going to have quality standards. It's going to be very volatile. Today it's too thick. Tomorrow it's too thin. But the boy and the children are learning something. So we need to encourage our generation, particularly these people that are called the middle class.
Yes.
They feel, they are managers in banks and all these places, and we appreciate the efforts that they have put to be where they are in life. But 20 years down the line, it is not our position that will matter. It is the position of our children. Are we going to catapult them to at least be who we are, if not better? So we have to start inculcating the values that have brought us to where we are into our children. And these are values and ethics of work. It is a very big fallacy to expect that a kid who has never worked, Captain, just because you have taken your kid to a good school, because you can afford, and he has a driver probably, he doesn't even take the school bus, and you later take them to an academy, you take them to a good high school, you take them to college or university. It is a big fallacy to assume that just by having them wear a black gown and call them a graduate,
that they are ready to work.
It's a big fallacy. Working is an attitude. Someone has to be willing to get tired. Get tired, you tell them, no, it's your job to keep the lawn clean. But here we think, because you can afford the maid, or you can afford the shamba boy. Your kid can never help you clean the car at home, can never help clean the house, can never even help clean the dishes they eat on. We need to go back into making them do it so that they appreciate what it means to work.
And you've used the word when they are still young and curious.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Every place I have sat on a desk in an office, the most memorable pictures I have of my eldest daughter is her sitting on my seat and I taking her photo. Do you know why I do that? Because I want to take her on a Saturday, on a date. I used to call it dad-daughter date. This is for me and her. And I kept telling her, you are the eldest, so you got to be the leader.
Yeah.
So you come to the office with me. I want you to look at those files. Some are old, they're very dusty. Please take a rag. Go in, look at the cabinet, clean them, check. She told me that these ones are very dusty. Yes, because I have not checked. Those are records. They should go to the archive. You know. I'm trying to show her that you can come and do some work and sit down, and then she will ask many questions. Okay, so she doesn't know what a lawyer does. Yeah. To her, a lawyer is only talks. And she has a lot of questions. One time when there was quarrels and chaos in an LSK meeting, she was very concerned.
Yeah.
She called me, Dad, I have seen you fighting. Why? What are you fighting about? And I felt, because I am trying to make her understand that this is the way the business is done. She has many choices of the things she wants to do in life. But I have told her, these will all be determined. When the performance comes, we can then look at all the options. Yeah. You get? Yeah. This role playing is something our parents are not willing to do. And let me challenge those who think that money can buy wisdom and knowledge and attitude. Yeah. It cannot.
They cannot, yeah.
Because I have people who've told me, okay, you're pushing this child. Yes, my child was in very good school, primary schools. But I made a decision. I'm not paying a private secondary school. The marks you get in primary school will earn you a school. And in that school, if the other children, she even requested me 3 weeks ago, before the exams began, that, Dad, I have uniforms, I have this. Can I donate them to other children? Can I?
Donate them.
I'm the one who bought the uniform.
Yeah.
So it cannot be donated without my authority.
No.
It cannot be donated without my authority. So I granted that authority, that this uniform, she will only carry one pair for her sake, for records. The others she will donate. She knows they are needy children. You get? I've never been to that school on disciplinary issue because that was our agreement.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted her to go to the normal, well, she's an extra county school, the best actually in Kiabu County. That's her luck. But the point is, because I had seen my friends, because you have some good money, so you take your child to Turi, so they are all pampered. I have seen some of those young children go to universities and they are unable to complete even an undergraduate course.
Okay.
An undergraduate course. Because this child was never taught, what is, that pampering.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's good, but it must be tampered with something else.
True.
And if you as a parent, the point I wanted you to say and to emphasize is that when you take the child to work, instead of them sitting at home because of the lifestyle, you don't know what they are doing. So what you're doing is proper parenting. You are there with them. You can guide, you can counsel, you can correct. But you're leaving other people. A child, when there is a maid, the maid is subordinate to the child, especially when the children becomes of age of knowledge. Yeah. They actually know this is our worker. So do you think they even listen to their direction?
They don't.
That's where a lot of parents go wrong. And then when you take those children to boarding school, where they don't even wash their clothes, the uniform is loaded.
Yeah.
How do you expect to raise a responsible person? And then you have a situation where a lot of powerful people, a lot of money, they say my children have all gone into drugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bitok, I wanted to mention something because I gave
There's something, I'm seeing your documents already on screen.
Yes.
So on the cycles of life or the phases of life. So I think you can pick it up because we finish in the next 8 minutes.
Yes.
8 minutes. So quickly you can.
Yes. So my point is, I want to be very brief on this. The point is that in the life of a human being, especially for those who've managed to go to school, there is a cycle of the way you live your life. And we say 20 to 30 years is the age of exploration. That is the age where you try anything and everything. You can even risk from one job to another, you can try business. There is no, in that age, 20 to 30, nobody will condemn you for failure. Nobody will condemn you for failure because that you are exploring. You're checking, you're trying to get a level, okay, in your life. In that age is the age where you make or break it because you're very powerful, you're very strong, you have a lot of ideas. When people are in the university, we listen to them even when they are talking about activism. They have very strong words because that is when you have the strength of mind and character. You have the aspiration, that's the very atom of your aspiration. It's the pinnacle of your aspiration. And that's what you need to do. This is also the age when you need to travel the country. Okay? But we have young people on a weekend, they want to sit and floss, smoke, drink, talk, chat. No, put that 600 shillings, pay a matatu, go to Kisii. If you are in Nairobi, go and see what people do in Kisii.
True.
Go and see what people do in Isinya.
Yeah.
Go and see how Machakos is. You know, you've never been to Kitale and you are a Kenyan. Go and see how maize is. People grow maize, you know, in huge chunks. Okay? And I want to say this. There is a young man who came from Netherlands. So how Bitok's relatives in Eldoret area are wasting maize, you know, the maize, the crop, after the harvest, how they are wasting the stocks. The guy is now running a cattle feed making business with tractors, with silage, you know? Big business. And he's a foreigner. A young person. Were there no young people here who had graduated? But they cannot see because they are stuck.
They are blinded by the corporate veil.
Yes. So please, 20 to 30. In age 31 to 40, it's called the accumulation phase. What are you accumulating? Mainly you are accumulating not just money, you are accumulating knowledge, experience. Okay? You are accumulating what you call the social network, which becomes your net worth. That's the very time you now, everybody is what people are calling settling. You know, you're not settling is not just getting married. That's just one of them. But you're creating a social network of yourself. Okay? If you don't have children, we're not going to sit with you debate about children. You're not paying fees. If you've never paid fees, what business do I and you have? Bitok and Eric, you talk because you guys are doing, at this age, you're almost doing almost the similar things. And that's the accumulation. You also accumulate finance. You also accumulate finance. And as you accumulate, accumulation means you are creating revenue streams. That is why you need a shilling coming from Boga. You are saving on your cabbage. You are saving on the amount of tomato you use. You are saving. Every saving becomes an earning. That's what a lot of people have never realized. Every saving becomes an earning. If you are supposed to buy unga at 90 or 100 shillings, but you ulienda ukasaga from maize you grew. That means you got it at 60. So how much do you save? 30 shillings.
True.
But a lot of people never see it. So when they find some more money in the pocket, instead of reinvesting the money, what they now do is now spend it. Because they don't remember that I saved it because I got things at a lower price. Okay? Then you get into the age where I am. Consolidation phase. What are we consolidating? I am consolidating all the knowledge I have gathered, all my social networks. I'm consolidating my finances and creating a flagship. And creating
a flagship.
A flagship. That's when now you see people building towers, you know. That is when you see them doing very major things because now they want to consolidate. But these things all came from one place. Even in politics, you will notice, because I know people who go to politics very early in their 30s, some of them fade away after some age. But when now you are in at the prime when you begin to consolidate friendships, that is when you create and you make it big. Finally, you go to the deaccumulation phase. What are you deaccumulating? At that time, some of your friends begin to fall off.
True.
Others begin to because of various factors.
Yeah.
Yes, after 61 years. At the same time, that's at that age, you've got to say that's the age we are worrying about, and becomes relevant. When Wazes at that age, 60 and above, you're worried about what will happen to your property.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to accumulate at that stage.
Yeah.
If there are properties I have in Subua, I delegate that to the younger people who have more energy. But now the worry is, if you never introduced your child to these other phases, how will you even deaccumulate? Now it will force you will die at the time of your death. The property is still in your name. And we've seen big families. There are court cases, isn't it?
It's true.
We've seen Jenga Karume's family. I mean, we've seen Michuki's family. Where are these people fighting over what their father created?
True.
Did they create it?
No.
No. But because at the time he was supposed to deaccumulate, he had not mentored these people to be in a position to take over.
Yeah.
So in the age of deaccumulation, I would want people at this age, please start writing wills. In fact, in those wills, or you can sometimes give away the businesses. Okay? Let them take over. I'm still looking way to see if I can meet James, the big man at Modokiju, because he's taken over the business from his father. The father and the mother have now gotten off the business. Okay? And now they've left the young man. Why are they not afraid that he will run it down?
Yeah.
Because when he left university, they told him, go to this university. That knowledge, you don't come, you don't look for a job.
Yeah.
You sit here with us. You are the one who knows digital marketing.
Yeah.
You are the one who learned those things of branding. Now you do it for us.
For us, yeah.
As parents.
You professionalize the traditional
Actually
business.
rebranded. You saw how they rebranded.
Yes, and that is the son who did it.
Yeah.
Now he's taken over the business. But if I am a lawyer and I don't want my own daughter or son to, I'm afraid that he will see my office is too small. Really? Then how will I even... I mean, the pride the late Honorable Mutula Kilonzo would have if he wakes up today, his farm has not collapsed.
Yeah, still running.
It's still running. Because as he said, when they were young, he would go to court with them. Even before they decided to go to law school. Because the other one is a daughter. The other daughter, the eldest daughter, is a doctor. But he's role-playing and showing them this is the way it is done. Haven't they also succeeded in their own terms? They have. And this is the very focus. So at the age of 60 and above, for the older people, start deaccumulating. That is not the time now you want everything to be in your name. No. Your risk is very high. Risk of lifestyle disease. Risk of forgetfulness because of dementia. Sicknesses. Okay.
And now COVID is here.
And now COVID is here.
Yeah.
So we begin now to prepare. As you prepare your life, and for the young people, I tell them that you don't start planning for retirement on the day you are employed. You start planning for retirement the day you hit 20 years. Because after 10, you will be 30.
True.
After another 10, you will be 40.
Yeah.
The same thing I keep telling people who tell me in social media, give us youths jobs. Youths, what is a youth? A youth is just an age set. There is no profession called youth. There is no profession.
True.
Called youth.
Very, very, very deep.
And
Today, Captain is on fire.
If you've got if you've got to do something, it is that age I have said, 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Okay, you must try everything and anything. And if you don't know, I always give it myself. And last week, I will mention him because a person I worked with in an organization came to talk to me. And he came all the way from Thika. And I told him, yes, he's called Jogu. He's listening to us today. I told him, come and I will give you 2 hours. When he left my office, he told me that I am now going to focus on my business of dairy farming because that's what I'm doing and I like. And I will not think about employment again. Because I explained to him that the more time you spend worrying, it will not help you. Now, please focus on this because this is what is available. And you've chosen. Is it making headway? Yes. Have you sourced the proper heifers? No, don't do this. Don't do this. I even told him the sources where he can get the cheaper feeding material. I even told him, during the rainy season, Kajiado is very green. It's plains. You know, sometimes you can lease. There are a lot of people in Nairobi who have fenced their land there, but there is nothing they are doing with it.
It's idle.
It's idle. Why don't you ask a person that he allows you to cut the grass and the hay and do it? And then he asked me, how will I get these people? I told him, my friend, you have your small car. Take a trip, you know, to those areas. Those lands, people know that he Shabani to flani. Okay? And you see also, there is a professor here there called Professor Malloy, who is a professor. He was a chairman of the Jomo Kenyatta University College. University. See what the professor is doing. Professor.
Yeah.
Knowing very well he can get a job and teach.
Yeah.
But see what he is doing. So that then you began to have. And for men, we've said, from today we stop talking about the metro man and the so-called the ornamental masculinity. You want to look good, no, dirty your heart.
Get your hands
Start
dirty.
becoming a useful masculine, a useful man. Okay? That's why you are worried. There are people who brought up big families by working as mechanics. It's work. Okay?
It's honorable work.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. We are past time, so I want to give you Eric to throw in your remarks. I know you've been absorbing wisdom, and you also
I've learnt a lot. Yeah, I mean, just to re-emphasize on what Captain is saying, let's get our hands dirty. Let's get our minds working. Look at problems that you can solve, practical problems that you can solve. It doesn't have to be sophisticated or complicated. Start from where you are. If there is milk shortage where you are, start a dairy farm. If people have cows but they don't have feeds, start growing animal feeds. And just to give a very simple example, when Jesus was looking for disciples, he never called a single idle man to be a disciple.
Yes.
It took people from work.
Yes.
You know, sometimes people think that because you don't have work you're doing, people should sympathize with you. I think the first person who should have sympathized with the person who was not working should have been Jesus. He should have called 12 disciples who didn't have work to do.
Angana vala jobless corner.
But he called fishermen, carpenters, and others. You always get noticed when you're doing something. Even God notices you. So wherever you are, young man, look for something to do. It doesn't have to be bringing you money right now, but the fact that you will be solving someone's problem will take you somewhere tomorrow.
Somehow. All right. On YouTube, back on YouTube, David Mchoraji, thank you so much for the wisdom, guys. Asante sana. David, naona pia David. I am was. Can I get the presentation, please? The discussion is very powerful. Asante sana. I'll find a way to link you. Send me a message on Facebook. I'll link you to Captain Wanderi. His own was a document. I don't have the rights. That presentation. Captain
I earn money from it.
I'll link you.
Knowledge economy.
Yes,
So
knowledge
nitumie
economy.
message on Facebook, I'll link you up with Captain, alafu mjue vile mtabadilishana hizo document na hizo presentation ndio tuweze kusonga pamoja. That's on YouTube. Back to Facebook. Let me see. Back to Facebook. I'm seeing a lot of comments have come up. So nianzie wapi? Okay, Elizabeth Karanja says apprenticeship Central Africa Day. Okay, I have to go back again. Tony. All right. Anderson on Rockibet Koine, Samu iko tuned in, asante sana. Anderson Degwa, my friend Samuel's Flow Cash Eunice Ross get tuned in, asante sana kwa kuamsha watu. Tony Kakuru, I'm looking for an office secretary. I want to pay 7k, but all ladies want 20k ba. Lakini pia angalia hali bwana. Yeah. Jana you do shopping squeeze ya 10,000. Unaibebanga tu na mkono.
Yes.
So as well, let's be also a bit sensitive.
Yes.
Giving out opportunities so that we also don't look like we're encouraging exploitation.
True.
You know, doesn't get a real. These are real talk. All right. Elizabeth Karanja says young men from West and Central Africa are crossing deserts and auctions trying to seek greener pastures in the West to cater for their poor families. I don't see this kind of zeal around here. Rather, it's our young ladies seeking jobs in dangerous Saudi Arabia so as to fend for families. Men need to be mentored. Wow. By the way, that's what men are not going out of their way these days. They're not sweating. They're not sweating it out. Isabel Kenya says apprenticeship is not common in Kenya. Family businesses must want their children to go to school so that they can get an education and do better than their parents. Oxy match. Vestas keep listening from Kabrak kwa Festo restaurant. I said, you need. I don't answer. This is what you want. He's a young guy who has opened an hotel for himself and made a Festo.
Wow.
Festo Hotel, Festo Restaurant. Tukikuja na Eric Nakuru tutakuja hapo kabla.
Lazima.
Tutakuja hapo kabla kwa Festo.
Unajua wewe umekataa kunipeleka hiyo place. Yeah? We should test drive one of the SUVs.
Twende na hiyo V8.
Captain will finance us with fuel. At least tuko na gari ni mafuta hatuna.
Akae left, akae back left.
Tunaweza panga hiyo.
Hata ni mdosi tunapeleka yeye. Tutakuja Festo Restaurant tutakuja. We'll come to Nakuru and then we'll come to Festo Restaurant. We'll have our lunch there. Muso JB, good morning. Bito Captain is a good mentor, especially to boy child. Asante sana. Elizabeth Kanya, wow, that's a good mentoring at Maridadi Motors. By the way, I mean, I can vote for Eric anyway. Eric is doing a good job. I'm very proud of you, my brother.
Thank
Especially
you.
at your age. I mean, you're thinking about other people, not
and
yourself.
Eric will succeed.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because when you think
Thank you
about
for
people,
the prayers. I appreciate
when you think about people, success comes to you.
Yes.
Problem is that when you think everything revolves around you.
Yes.
I mean, okay. Elizabeth Kanya says captain should set up a weekend men's boot camp.
True.
Tutaileta na Eric ndiye atakuwa sponsor. Elizabeth Karanja, but we started a program sometime back. Eric lakini we consistent. What happened to nini? To mambo ya boy child?
Boy child, I mean, on Saturday we were doing something on the boy child.
No, the other one we started.
Okay. You know now COVID
Revive it.
killed gatherings and all that, but we'll bring it back.
Elizabeth Karanja says working in the USA for some years taught me a lot about work ethics. We have a long way to go to get to that level. Which is true. Anyway, Honorable Jules Favor, great wisdom. Asante sana Kipto Elias Kiprono watching from Kapero. Really inspiring. Asante sana watu wa Kapero. Nicole Chabiji kutoka The Loop Guest House. Asante Captain, good work. Asante sana. To Yoya Gisa, this man Collins Wanderi is using knowledge and wisdom. Jeremy Kali's speeches are very inspirational and motivational if our youth can get to listen to it. Majamaa wanataka kusikia dundaing. Ukiambiwa kuja sikiza mambo kama unataka kusikiza. Unataka kwenda kusikia maajabu. Naambiwa huko mambo ya sijui anyway. Sema sasa bado ni asubuhi mapema. Haya, Musa JB Captain Wisdom nayo. Haya, Andrew Howdry Nafula, great show today. Thanks for facilitating this, Gerald. Asante sana Howdry, really appreciate. Bonin Kimtaya Rap Mangame, great show. Asante sana Captain and Company. Asante sana Mutai Gilbert, nice advice, man. Thank you so much Mutai Gilbert for tuning in. Every other person who has tuned in, and also gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you. David, back on YouTube, I'm saying David Mchoraji, I do fine art, but my main goal and aim by 2023, I want to become a full-time storyteller by illustration. You can contact me, then we can see. I really want to understand what you do, David. I really want to understand it. You never know, it can come in. It can come in handy tujue labda tunaweza tukiwa na kazi ya artwork mahali, we'll be able to tell you. Honorable Just Favor, bro, I need to speak to Eric. I have an idea. Please let me know. Eric is a very available human being. Talk to me on Facebook, then I'll link you up. Or you can actually just message him directly on Facebook or Messenger. Ataweza kuzungumza na wewe. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you gentlemen for coming. Wanderi, asante sana kwa kuja umesikia challenge. Anasema wandishi bootcamp ya weekend. Eriko, asante sana for tuning. And also thanks for sacrificing time to come in every Monday morning. This is a Common Sense edition. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is a Tackle Lens now. Bye-bye and take care.